my name's Emily Masrick, and I'm a product designer. And one of the questions that I guess asked most is what my bootcamp experience was like. So I, like many of you probably watching this video, wanted to get into UX design and was pretty attracted to the idea of doing 3 months of work, having a diploma, and being industry ready and landing a job. It wasn't quite that simple. That was kind of what I was led to believe, but let's dive into everything that has to do with the user experience design program at BrainStation. So first of all, why did I choose this program? And the reason that I actually chose this program was because I had a friend doing it at the time. So full transparency, I didn't do a ton of research. It was nice that it offered a diploma, and they had a really great job guarantee match where something like 96% of their graduates had landed roles in UX. It might have seemed a little bit too good to be true, but it felt like a safe bet, and I was actually laid off at the time, so it was kind of like I was ready to dive in and just give it a chance. The program is actually 3 months, like I mentioned, so it's 12 weeks full-time of intensive coursework. I think realistically, I was probably anywhere between 6 to 8 hours a day of class time, but then after that there's homework as well. So I probably spent anywhere between 10 to 12 hours a day actually working on assignments, doing readings, and just trying to learn Figma, further my understanding so that I could get the most out of the course. And there were people that fell behind that weren't able to dedicate that amount of time. So you kind of get out of it what you're willing to put into it. How to enroll in the program. There's kind of an intense enrollment program. Maybe intense is the wrong word, but there are steps to it. So you have to submit an application is the first step. You have to write a little bit about why you think you'd be good in the program, what makes you eligible, kind of fill out a whole questionnaire, and then you actually have to have an interview with one of the recruiters there. And it's pretty straightforward. They ask you why you would think you'd be a good fit, what you know about UX design, how dedicated you would be to the course load, and how much time you had available on your hands. And then the last step is actually an assignment they give you. It's like a chunk of text that's been all jumbled up, and your job is to design it in a way that is coherent, just using a simple program like Google Docs or something, just to show you have an idea of what design actually is. And the worst part of the program, arguably, is the cost. So I'm in Canada, and it was about 15,000 Canadian dollars. So if you think about what that costs in comparison to going to university to get a degree, pretty much on par. And it was hard because if you look at the weekly breakdown, it was like over $1,000 a week. So you really feel like you want to get the most out of this program. And then I think it's probably best if we just dive into what was really great about the program, and then we can also talk a little bit about what was not really great. So let's start with the positives. And the first thing that I really liked was the structure of the program and the curriculum. Super well thought out, covers everything from research to design to thinking about stakeholders and business needs to even building a portfolio and getting your resume ready to go. So that was really great. Another thing that at the time wasn't really great, but looking back was really great, was there's a ton of group work. So not only does this foster relationship building, and I was able to make a ton of really great friends that I still chat with and meet to this day, but also I learned how to work in a group, and that's actually really valuable as a designer because I'm never working independently fully as a designer. I'm always checking in with the developers or other designers on my team to get feedback and things like that. So having that experience of learning how to work in a team, extremely valuable. Another thing that was really great was that they have an industry partnered design sprint during the cohort. So during my cohort, HelloFresh actually came in. We got to solve a design problem for them. And that's pretty great to be able to put on my portfolio as an aspiring or junior designer that I've worked with HelloFresh and have like an industry product or project. So that was really, really awesome. Probably the best part for me was actually that there was a multidisciplinary hackathon. Super valuable going into interviews because a question I was frequently asked was, what's your experience like working with developers? And I know in most boot camps, this is really uncommon to have any experience working with anybody else in any other disciplines. But as a designer, it's pivotal that you understand how to work with a developer. So our hackathon was actually for UX designers 2 developers, 1 digital marketer, and 2 data scientists. So this was awesome, pretty representative of what it's like actually in the workplace to work on a team. And in 24 hours, let me tell you, you can learn a whole lot. And I kind of left out the best part, which is actually really relevant to why it's great for me, but might not actually be so great for you, is that our hackathon was actually sponsored by Google, which was pretty insane. It was the first time it's ever been offered at BrainStation. And honestly, I think the last I haven't heard or seen anybody advertise since then that they also worked with Google. And my team actually came in first place, which was pretty incredible. So again, on my portfolio, I get to say, worked with Google on a project for them, came in first place. That's pretty cool and not something that I would have been able to have, an experience I could have had if I was learning on my own. So let's get into the not so great things. And there are a few that I have to mention. And the first one is the enrollment process. I kind of talked about this already, but to me, it's kind of a joke, right? Like if I'm paying $15,000 and I want to do the program, why would you ever say no? Right? Like that's just a poor business decision. Unless somebody's totally not invested, but then you can still take their money. I don't know, it just seems like ridiculous to me to have such an intense enrollment program. And I should mention this actually impacted me personally because the design challenge that I talked about previously, I was actually designing a menu. So they gave you a jumbled up menu, just like in a note format. All of the appetizers mixed up with the entrees and the drinks, the prices, and all I had to do was kind of make it into coherent design. And I should mention that my background is actually in hospitality. I worked as a server for over a decade. So I was actually super excited about this. I was like gung-ho right off the bat. And as soon as I saw it, I basically got to work immediately. I put the drinks on the back, the food on the front. I organized it from lightest to heaviest, going from appetizers to entrees to desserts. I had the prices all laid out on one side, so it was very clear to see the distinction. I had lines going between each section. So again, very obvious what was grouped with what. I also even added in gluten-free and vegetarian symbols as like a bonus. Nobody asked me to do that, but I knew that was common on menus, so I thought I would just try to go above and beyond and do the best that I could. And for this challenge, they asked specifically for you not to use any colors or fancy typography, like just use one font. You can bold stuff, italics if you want, but like keep it simple. It's mostly about the UX component, not really about the visual design aspect. So like I spent a couple hours doing this, like iterating it, going back and forth, and I was really excited about it. And I did a really great job. But I should mention that I was really dragging my heels when I was applying for this program, so this is totally on me. But I applied to the program and had my interview and heard that my interview went well and that I had to complete this design challenge exactly 1 week before the program was set to start. So I heard on a Monday that my interview I had passed and I was ready to start the design challenge. And it was going to be 1 week exactly later. So I made sure to submit my assignment right away. And then crickets. And I understand there was probably multiple people applying for this program, but how many people realistically are actually in this cohort? And since I was trying to start like in 1 week's time, I was hoping I would get some feedback. And it actually got to Friday and I still hadn't heard anything back. And I was like getting a little bit anxious, am I starting school on Monday or am I having a normal day? And it was like 5:30 p.m. on Friday that I got an email from them that said that my design challenge did not meet the requirements and I would not be starting school on Monday. So I cried. I was crushed. I couldn't believe it. I was just like so shocked. I legitimately sent an email back asking of them if they had made a mistake because I was so certain that I had done a great job and there was no reason to exclude me. Again, $15,000, I was ready to hand it over, right? And I'd really tried my best and legitimately looking back, even now after being in the industry for a full year, I did a good job. So I was super confused and obviously I wasn't going to get feedback at end of day on a Friday, so it was over, right? No. Actually, the next day, I was out running some errands Saturday morning, and I got a phone call from one of the recruiters at BrainStation calling me to tell me that no, they hadn't made a mistake, but they still were going to admit me to the program, which was very confusing and very frustrating because obviously I had made a mistake so big that I wasn't admissible to the program, but somehow if you send one email that questions that and threaten to not join the next cohort, because I should mention that in their email they were like, normally we don't make exceptions, but we see promise in you, whatever that means. But we'd love for you to try again with the design challenge. Again, they gave me no actionable feedback other than I should just try again. So what would I even change? I already did like the best job that I could. And I could start the program a month later. Now, I didn't want to start the program a month later. I was laid off from work and knew that I had time now. So I didn't want to waste away a month. So I told them that, like, if I can't start now, I'm going to look at other options, different boot camps. I already mentioned I didn't do a ton of research going into this. So it kind of made sense that I was going to try to start something else. And I really think that that's why I got the phone call. I was threatening to take away that $15,000. So that feels shitty. You feel like you are barely being let into the program. You're probably the bottom of the barrel designers going into it, and you have no confidence. My confidence was totally zapped, and I felt like maybe I didn't even belong there. Which is a pretty shitty way to start a new chapter of your life. And I wasn't happy about it. I was able to talk to the woman on the phone and finally get to the bottom of what the problem was, because, you know, at least if you can give me the feedback of what's wrong, I can fix it, like, or a hint or something. Like, I'm really trying my best here. I didn't put menu, the word menu, on the menu. And that's the reason that I wasn't qualified to enroll in the program. And to this day, I'm still baffled by that and honestly offended because, again, worked in the hospitality industry for over 10 years. The menu has never said menu on it, because guess what? It's pretty freaking obvious that it's a menu. Anyways, you can tell I still have some strong feelings about this. It really rubbed me the wrong way. And it, again, totally shook my confidence. So that leads me to my next point that's not so great, and that's just the price. Obviously, it's totally over the top, but they have these scholarships. So I was like, there was one for women in technology that looked like I would be potentially a fit. There's not a lot of information on their website about what makes you eligible. So when I was emailing the recruiter at the campus, I was like, hey, I'd love to see if I can apply for a scholarship. The discount was $3,000, so pretty sizable. Any discount I could get on this course, I was absolutely going to try to take advantage of that. So I emailed them and they said, yes, what scholarship are you interested in? And I was like, as per my last email, a woman in technology, I think I might be eligible. Like, can you let me know what the criteria is? Do I have to write an essay? Next email I got, great, the scholarship has been added to your account. So it's not a scholarship, it's a discount. So if you're going to do this program, make sure you ask about this, because it makes the price seem completely arbitrary. They can just lob off $3,000 for anybody that asks about it. So cool. That also didn't really instill confidence starting the program. But whatever, I have time to do this. I finally was allowed to start the program on the Monday, so that was quite a hectic weekend. And I just wanted to go with my best foot forward and do the best that I could. So another thing that was not so great is that there were these TAs, which initially was great. There's all these resources to help students, and they seem pretty knowledgeable, like they know what they're talking about. Come to my attention, like not even 2 weeks in, these TAs have literally just graduated from the previous cohort. So they were in my position 3 months ago. Definitely not industry-leading experts. And to be fair, they didn't claim to be, but I felt like it was a little bit misleading. They did have industry-leading experts or real UX designers that did the lecturing, but the TAs did all of the grading. So the feedback you would get, I don't know, like looking back now, did they really have a great idea of what they were talking about? Maybe they did really well in the course and they learned a lot, but realistically, how much can you actually learn in 3 months that you're at a level to grade the next cohort? So that also didn't really sit well with me. I should also mention that the quality of education from these professional UX designers honestly, I felt like it was mediocre at best. Like the curriculum was written really well, the slides were done extremely well, but one professor in particular literally just read off the slides, and when you asked questions, he didn't even really answer them. I don't know, just for the price, I was really expecting like top-notch education. It was not that. I still learned a lot from the program, and I still think, again, the curriculum was designed really well, and if you read the slides, you could learn all of that information. There was great resources. I just wish the delivery of information would have been improved. I didn't really resonate well with any of the educators, and there's usually 2 main educators per cohort, so didn't really build strong bonds with either of them, and didn't really feel like they elevated my experience in the program, if that makes sense. You work on a capstone project for basically 8 months of the semester, or not 8 months, sorry, 8 weeks. 8 weeks, because the program is 12 weeks. No, 10 weeks. You work on a capstone project for 10 weeks of the program, and the first 2 weeks are actually a design sprint. Self-taught design sprint. So on Monday when I started the program, it was me in a group that had been pre-assigned and a Figma board with instructions. And we had check-ins with our TAs, but for the first 2 weeks, it was completely self-taught. So again, I'm already not rolling in off a lot of confidence, having a negative experience, and now I'm just fit into this program that's totally on my own, it felt like. Like nobody had any clue what they were doing. And obviously that was the intention, to kind of get us out of our comfort zones, do some self-learning, bond with our team, all that great stuff. But again, I'm thinking about the price in my brain, right? So I've got the price down to $12,000 now. It's 12 weeks. That breaks down pretty easily to $1,000 a week. So in my brain, I'm paying $2,000 for self-guided study. Didn't sit well with me, again. I don't know, going back, if I would have changed it. Yes, I did learn a lot of valuable lessons, and I can see why they did that, but I just think that's really good information to have up front, if you know what I mean. And then the rest of the program, those 10 weeks, you're kind of working on your capstone project. And the whole idea is that at the end of the program, there's going to be a demo day. And at this demo day, there's going to be industry professionals and recruiters and hiring managers, and you're going to give them a 3-minute presentation, your pitch of what you've done, and they are going to be interested in you, or they are going to offer you a job. Life will be grand. And honestly, it was totally a bust, like completely. To be fair, my whole cohort was online, and I think when it's in person, it's probably much more impactful. But the reality of the situation was, it was like a 2-hour-long Zoom call. People pop in, people pop out. Maybe some people there are paying attention. Maybe they're just listening during their lunch hour while they're doing work on their laptop at home. And there's so much pressure to give like such a great presentation, and I really felt the pressure and gave it my all. Did it really make a difference for me? Honestly, no. I think I was one of the only person in the entire cohort that was actually reached out to by a recruiter. And I was like, this is it. This is my moment. And yeah, they were interested in me, but they were not hiring for that month. So they were going to reach out next month. And then next month there was a problem. And then finally talked to them. And yeah, you should apply for this role. I'll flag your name. Never heard back. Oh, sorry, you can hear my parrot in the background. But in hindsight, I'm trying to see the silver lining. It was really valuable that I practiced that presentation so much, because when I did go into interviews and I had to give a portfolio presentation, no problem. I was ready to go. So maybe not terrible, but like definitely a bit misleading. And the other thing that was incredibly shocking was basically following graduation, I was like, okay, I'm going back to the restaurant. We're open again, and I haven't worked in how many weeks? 3 months. I need to make some money. And they're like, okay, guys, ready for post-bootcamp? And I was like, how did I not know about this? So they have this guarantee that 96% of people that have taken the program will end up with a job in UX in 6 months. But that 96% of people are people that enroll in the post-bootcamp bootcamp. So it's optional, but they expect you to put in 30 hours a week of job searching, networking, attending events, working on your portfolio, iterating your resume, having coffee chats, minimum 30 hours a week. So that's a full-time job. And obviously, yes, of course, you're going to need to do that if you want to land a role in UX. But I just wasn't mentally prepared for that. I just thought there would be a little more hand-holding to, help you land your job. That was not the case. They had your demo day video and they had your resume and they posted it on their website. That was it. To be fair, their career success team was actually phenomenal. If you reached out to them and asked for help, they were super prompt, always had awesome insights that were super helpful. And I really actually think that they were pivotal in me landing my position, just with the support and resources they were able to give me. But it's not just given. They have a bi-weekly, so like every other week, they would have a check-in. That was a 1-hour meeting that you could ask questions. Just kind of a check-in. That was the extent of the support that they really offered. So if you weren't willing to seek it out yourself or ask for time to meet or chat or reach out, it didn't happen. So with that said, I kind of wanted to debunk that 96% statistic. So in my cohort, I think there was around 50 people. I was able to track down 42 people. And of those people, I have 30 out of 42 that have actually landed jobs in design or in product. So some people went on to be product managers, other people went on to be web designers, some people got into graphic design. So 71%. And I think that's actually still a pretty great statistic realistically, but definitely not 96%. And then if I'm really being picky and looking at the people that actually landed jobs in UX design or as product designers, 24 out of 42. So 57%. Again, still pretty good compared to a lot of other boot camps, but like not even close to 96%. So it just feels deceitful, to be honest with you. So in short, overall, for me, the experience was worth it. I do think that it helped me land a job. With that said, my experience will not be the same as yours. You probably won't get to have a hackathon sponsored by Google where you win first place. That was incredibly lucky and fortunate that I was able to be in that team and have that honor. You probably won't get to have a design sprint with HelloFresh. It could be another company. Maybe it will be just as valuable, maybe not. And in terms of them actually helping you get a job, it really does feel like you're kind of on your own. So take that as you will. Again, for me, yes, it was worth it. Looking back, would I do it all over again? I don't know. There's a lot of really great resources out there that you can learn UX design for free or for a fraction of the cost. I'm actually taking courses right now through Interaction Design Foundation. It's awesome. They have courses from beginner all the way to advanced levels. You can pick whatever you're interested in. And the membership fee for the whole year is only $200. They also offer a boot camp that's around $2,000, if I'm not mistaken. And then actually one of the universities in my town, not universities, sorry, I guess it's technically like a technical college. They're offering a UX design program and it's around $3,000. So I think I would probably do some more research and I think I could have a similar experience somewhere else, but it's tough to say because I don't really know and I have nothing to compare it to. So anyways, I hope this video was helpful and please let me know if you have any questions. I'm always happy to chat.